Hello?
Finally, bro.
It's too funny.
We've never had this problem ever.
Never, 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 ever, ever, ever. This has never happened.
Holy, it's either the system was down or it does not want to work.
There we
Yeah, it's
Yes!
go.
The struggle, it kind of leads us into our topic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it
really.
really does.
Oh my God.
Holy.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can.
We're good? Okay.
Can you guys
Holy,
hear
it's
me?
Yes.
yes. Unfortunately, we're not. Hopefully, this doesn't happen with our future guests because, oh my God, bro. Could you imagine like you're interviewing like Drake and this happens? He's leaving.
Oh, of course, of course, of course.
It's okay, we
It's
got
like,
it figured out.
I bet. Anyways, guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a special guest. She came back for a second time. Olivia, what's
Thank
up?
you. Hi guys, I'm so excited to be back.
Wow, we're
Welcome back.
excited.
What?
We're excited. For people that don't know, Olivia's last episode, episode 14, the validity of cliches, is actually a top five trending episode. So go back and see that.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
I know, like this is like I think episode. I forget what episode this is, but like we're almost. Well, Mohammed, you know what episode this is? 46.
47, 46.
Yeah, one of those two. But for your episodes, they'll be top five at the meeting. That means people love it and they're listening to it. So, shout out to that.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Anyways, Mohammed, you wanna start it out?
Yep. Welcome back to another episode of Ways. My name is Mohammed, here with the co-host Osama, and we're featuring the guest Olivia for today's episode. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to every episode. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor, as well as various platforms. Our Instagram page is at Ways 2.0. Osama's personal page on Instagram is Kusa300. My personal page is Muhammad.global. Make sure to hit us up for any content. When come on the show, let us know. Any
Olivia,
topic you want us to talk about, let us know.
where can they find you, Olivia?
My Instagram is Olivia Perl.
Hey,
Perl.
go follow her right now, and shout out your other account that you have.
Oh, I think it's, ooh, I don't even remember what it is. I don't remember what it's
Well, you know
called.
what? I'm gonna make sure to when we post the episode to put the link because
Yeah, we'll plug it.
I
if
think
you
it's
don't
like
follow her,
Pearl 095 or something. Pearl 095.
you always bless with like she always like you always help out with like, hey, do this, buy that, buy this. Like this place has what do you call promotion? So Olivia's like hooking people up.
Yeah, man, I'm all about saving and getting every bang for my buck.
That's facts. That's facts. What? This guy left.
Oh, well then.
Well, anyways, clearly he has cheap Wi-Fi. I probably have to invite him back. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, while Muhammad comes back, I hope everyone's doing well. How was your date so far? Oh, he came back.
Oh, welcome back.
Yo, I don't know, dude. I'm not sure what Wi-Fi you have, but guys,
I don't know what link you, bro.
what do you mean what link?
So there be some no-name link.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know we probably spent the last half an hour trying to figure out what was the problem. So I guess we better just jump into the topic now before I'll cut this all off.
All
I guess
right, who's
Olivia,
doing the intro?
since Olivia gave us a topic, how about you start it off since you gave us a topic? Because that's
Okay,
actually
should
made the
I?
topic, by the way. Yeah, go in for it.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So, I've basically been talking to Osama about how I'm frustrated when people are so negative about 2020, saying 2020 is canceled and everything, all their plans are canceled. It's like everyone only has negative things to say about 2020. And for me, 2020 brought a lot of positivity. So that's frustrating me now. And I was just expressing that to Osama, and we decided to make a podcast about that, about how really, if you're saying 2020 is canceled, you kind of got to take responsibility on it, you know? And then,
Yeah.
of course, a few minutes before we were supposed to start our podcast, we had so many technical difficulties, which was just kind of ironic that this is happening on this
Yeah.
subject today.
I kind of yeah. So I actually totally agree. So I want to say we probably spoke almost 2 weeks ago when I hit you up because my cousin needed help for an assignment. By the way, which thank you because
You're
you helped me
welcome.
out. But yeah, long story. So me and Olivia started talking. Like we obviously, I definitely agree. I heard a lot of close friends of mine, just people who spoke to was like, oh, 2020 is a curse. 2020 is a curse. Honestly, I kind of disagree because I think me and Muhammad had these conversations as well throughout this past couple months. For me, it always was like if this stuff happened in 2019, was 2019 a curse? Like, are we always gonna be cursing the year, or are you just gonna cursing your life? It's your life. Like, regardless of what the number is, you're doing that to your life. Like, I'm not gonna allow a pandemic to stop my life. I'm not gonna allow me losing a job to stop my life. I feel like you have two options, and this is like for me again. Like, I'm just speaking from my perspective. People, if you're coming in chiming into our podcast, be sure to like come with a viewer's discretion is advice.
Yeah, for
But
real.
yeah, definitely. Val. Yeah, I was gonna say either you own up to your mistakes or you can just be quiet and shut up because as Olivia said, when she brought up that topic to me, I felt it was a great way to end off one of our episodes, this being one of them, because I feel like a lot of people kept saying 2020 is a curse. Well, like I was making a joke. I'm like, well, if Trump, people have to worry about 2021 and further, so that's
True.
another problem.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah, beautiful topic. My answer really is, yeah, we've never seen a year like this before, obviously. It's definitely historic, it's memorable. We're never gonna forget it. But the truth is, let's say everyone's right, like there's negativity in the air. And this year was a canceled year, and we've never seen a year like this being stuck at home, not able to go outside, and the COVID, the pandemic, and the presidency, protests, and all these different things. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a lot of dark energy, right? There's a lot of negative space. But
Yeah.
yeah,
even in chaos and darkness, there's going to be light. So you could choose to be that light. So you could choose to have that positive insight and that fortitude of just thinking clear and being clear as far as what you
yeah.
want and what you're seeking after. Because as we all know, if people are going through a tough time, they're not able to see the bigger picture. And the only way of seeing the bigger picture is by one being balanced and neutral to seeing both sides. So
hmm
once you do that,
Exactly.
so once you do that, you realize that you are the light in the tunnel. So people will walk through it in order to get out of that darkness. So
it's funny that you mentioned that.
yeah,
Because sorry to cut you off, but I just want to because I've used that analogy before, but I'll explain it after you're finished. Yeah, go on.
and yeah, like I want to say, like Squidward is SpongeBob's best friend, even though they might not never acknowledge it. But it's a yin and a yang, right? So
A weird analogy to look at it. But I was gonna say, go back to your point about the tunnel and the darkness and seeing the light. One time, me and a good friend of mine, who I just saw today for the first time in almost 2 months, and he legit 8 houses down from me. So shout out to you, bro. We were talking one time, and I'm like, listen, dude, in life, we can't keep like, Olivia, as you were saying about like to me, like we were texting about the whole topic. I feel like when you're going through stuff in life, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of like crappy moments or shitty moments. However, the closer you get to the tunnel, like the light starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually the whole tunnel becomes bright, and there's no more darkness no more. So eventually, yes, like stop saying 2021 will be a better year. You should always focus on everything should be a better day. Like, yeah, what you're gonna like, no one will ever go through stuff. Even rich, successful people probably go through more negative stuff than we do,
Hmm.
because who knows? Like everybody has like respectively, we all go through stuff every single day. I don't think there's a single person out in this world that doesn't go through a negative thing at least once a week, if not
Exactly.
more. So I don't think we should say, "Oh, 2020 is a curse." The pandemic. If the pandemic, like the SARS happened when we are like obviously we were like much younger, but from my memory, like I don't hear people complaining. It wasn't even that bad. But now I feel what people have with social media, people have become so sensitive. You have people who are doing like anti-pro. And me and Olivia were talking about this, by the way, about the guy that opened his restaurant, and I'm like, come on, like why are you guys protesting about like masks? I feel like we should. I feel like what Corona did in a way, it kind of divided humanity in a sense. And I feel like people are either like, oh, they're trying to be pro woke or like trying to be like against woke, and like now you have people who don't know what to believe no more because so much false information being spread.
Exactly. And then also with everyone saying, oh, the government's brainwashing you, I think that we also need to keep in mind that a lot of these people that are saying that because they're reading it on social media, and social media is also another form of brainwash. So
Oh,
let's just
absolutely.
not forget that. I'm not saying,
You know,
sorry, I'm not
yeah.
saying believe it or don't believe it. I'm just saying, be aware. That's it.
Well, you bring up a valid point. The reason is being because obviously we're kind of part of the generation where I guess we can say pre-social media because we grew up on MSN, MySpace, all those like small chats. So we got to see like Facebook, Twitter, everything really glow up to what it is now.
Mhm.
And when we wanted to learn something about the news, Mohammed, Olivia, you guys know this. Like it would be on. You'd have to go to CBC or CP24 to see like what actually happened.
Yeah,
Now you can go on Twitter, and sometimes people with bigger influences have an influence on the way you think, right? And
totally.
if you're not strong as an individual, you could personally believe it. So I can like right now, people who are coming to this podcast again. Nothing we're saying is for you to like. I don't care if you agree with it or you don't. It's like, obviously our perspectives, how we feel. Hopefully, you can come to this podcast and obviously hear my thoughts, Olivia's thoughts, and Muhammad's thoughts, and at least go to yourself and have a discussion. Like even message us, the three of us. Like we'd love to hear your opinion. But for me personally speaking, I'm getting tired of people saying, "Oh, 2020 is a curse, bro." Like what someone was or someone was saying on Twitter. Yeah, I think add on to your point about the government is like, yeah, the government's brainwashing. They want you to take this, they want to take that. I'm like, dude, the government. I don't think the government cares half the time what you do. They have Canada, for example, has 38 million Canadians. They're not going to cater to each person in the world. It's not humanly possible
Exactly.
because.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on, go on.
Oh, exactly. And people saying that, oh, if you wear a mask, it's the government's way of controlling you, and if you don't, you're not listening to the government. But at the end of the day, like if I buy a disposable mask that comes in a pack of 100, are you telling me that it's chipped or some shit that they're gonna know if I'm wearing it or not, and they know who I am? Like, no.
You know, you know what's funny is like about these guys. If the government really wanted to find you, they can find you. You could be at work and they're coming to you because like
Exactly.
they can access your location services they want, even if you had them turned off. Like I was actually talking to this about Muhammad, and one time me and him were like, I feel like now with with this new generation, I'm talking about the people who are born like mid 2000 and up, and who are like I guess probably much more secure at social media than I ever will be. When they're filming stuff, when certain events happen, like the guy at the restaurant in Etobicoke, or for example, when you see racist stuff happen, or someone not wearing a mask and they film it, or any racist stuff that happens, sometimes people have to understand is like, are you filming because it's an actual good cause, or are you filming to get clout? Because when I see it on Six Buzz,
Yeah.
it's just for you to get clout,
Yeah.
or if because that's the only reason you're filming it. But then again, what you don't realize is if you ever apply to a job like for a higher position, people think that videos get deleted. No, they don't. This is how smart the government is. You're once you archive something, they can get it back if it's even. They got Kevin Hart's. This is a good example. They got Kevin Hart's tweets back, which were deleted when he was like, I guess he made fun of the LGBTQ community, and even though he apologized multiple times after, and that's why they stopped him from doing the Oscars. So I feel people have to be careful what you see, what you do on social media,
Hmm.
right? Like think twice about what you want to say. Think twice about what you see, mainly because not everything you see is actually the truth at all.
Yeah. And you just kind of got to keep an open mind and perspective and make sure, and I've posted this numerous times, make sure that if you see something on social media, that you're validating those facts from a valid source, a reliable source. And I don't mean Wikipedia. And I
Really
don't
important.
mean
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
mean another person's Instagram. Like make sure you're using valid sources and that it's relatable to the area that you live in as well. Because otherwise, if you're just causing unnecessary panic and spreading false information.
That's a very powerful point.
You,
But the
you,
funny thing is,
you know, you,
it's actually cool that she said that because, like, you are right, obviously, right? But we are living in an age where being credible is seen as something that's actually old or not as cool. Like, it's actually more better to be more false in your rhetoric or your speech or your act or your character. Like, that is the new wave. So I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if people actually value being credible as before. Because also when we were growing up, a person who's credible is someone that's respected, we look up to, and always we admire. But now, as we all know, with social
yeah,
media and YouTubers and all these different things, the people who are spewing false messages and themes, these are the people that we look up to in society, and they have the name and the notoriety. So I wonder if being credible in today's society is really, I don't know, necessary at all.
That's a good point.
To add on to your point about being credible, and to add on to it, Olivia's point, because I kind of triggered a thought. A lot of the times, I feel opinions are subjective, just because we were talking about, Olivia was mentioning about people, like they say their subjective opinion about not wearing masks or the government, or like, oh, they're going to follow me. They have to have a fine line between something that's objective and something that's subjective.
Hmm.
We all have a personal opinion of how we feel about certain stuff, and you have the right to believe it if that's how you feel. But when it comes to stuff that's gonna hurt the humanity, or it's gonna affect someone else, then you have to. I don't care if you don't like it or not. It's not about race. It's not about like human rights. This is about what the government's trying to do to keep you safe. So when the governments are saying, like for example, if you're on lockdown and follow the rules, or if you're in an area that's red zone, like I know Halton's in red zone right now, I know Peel's in lockdown. If you're in an area, don't abuse. I'm not sure what you're doing. Like you think you're funny by like, oh, the government's gonna watch you. Yeah, they're gonna watch you and they're gonna get you in trouble. You're not doing yourself a favor by, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do with Drake. No, you're not Drake. You're not no one. You're just a human being. You're gonna cause problems. You're gonna get other people hurt and sick. And I feel that 2020 has taught us a lot, specifically me. I think if you haven't learned any lessons from 2020, I feel it's just a waste of your time.
Hmm.
Like if you haven't learned about like friendships, or like you haven't sat down with yourself during the pandemic, with times we were in quarantine, the whole country, and thought to yourself, it's like you want to be a better person, you want to achieve more goals, you want to get a higher position, or you want to fix your relationship, whatever it may be. I feel 2020 was the perfect time to reflect on what you want to do. So going into 2021, you'd have the best start to your life.
Absolutely. So I think like maybe, well, out of the three of us, let's go over what are some things that you would say are good that came out of 2020 for you. Let's start with you, Osama.
The best thing that came out for me for 2020,
And like
honestly, I'm not.
any benefits. Could be one, could be three, whatever.
The biggest thing is I'm not sure if I said this to you. I know I said it to Mo, but Mohammed, I it was self-reflect. I self-reflected a lot on like people I want to be around, because a lot of the times I feel like even when I finished school, I never really had that much time to self-reflect. But I feel the pandemic gave me so much time to self-reflect with my life. That's how the podcast got started. People that don't know,
Hmm.
kind of funny. And then yeah, self-reflecting who I want in my life, what I want with my values, who do I want to see in my future life. I feel it gave me a long time, because I feel like when you're in the moment, you're having fun and nothing is going wrong, you don't have time to think
Hmm.
about all the negative stuff, right? But yeah, I would say I had a lot of time to self-reflect for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was your biggest.
What about you?
Okay, what about Mo?
My biggest thing.
Mo, are you there?
Oh, of me?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was next. Exactly like Osama, reflection. So I guess my answer is really being quarantined. So
Mhm.
we're always going to talk about COVID and the impact, right? But people see it as a bad thing. The good thing about it was actually being confined in my own space, and really, like Osama said, reflecting on the purpose of me living. Like I know Osama will tell you, like everyone hated being isolated at one point, but I enjoyed every single second. Why?
Yeah, you did.
Because we move around so much as society, and obviously us living in the West, we do so much, and we work in like a 9 to 5, and there's like this rat race of just trying to be successful and trying to catch up. And obviously our generation is getting screwed over because of housing and not enough jobs and the salary. So when I went to Ghana 1 year ago, it
Mhm.
was the first time really in my life where I was actually able to slow down, because for almost nearly 2 months I had no internet. So I was legit confined to the society of the people who lived as if life was just normal, right? And obviously for me, social media, checking my phone, all these different things, I had to adjust. And it felt as if I was in like another reality. So when when we eventually quarantined earlier this year and everyone's going crazy, I was used to that because that happened to me a year ago and I was actually missing it. So being able to be a part of that all over again here, it really gave me an advantage just to really seek deeper into what I want as far as my life and what I need to do as far as the steps to become that person ultimately.
Mhm. Honestly, like
What about you, Olivia?
I'm totally on the same page as both of you. I can relate. I can relate especially with Mo because earlier this year, I was actually in Asia, before before the pandemic because I
Yeah,
went,
what dates?
just to be clear. So I left Canada at the end of December of 2019, and then I was in the Philippines and Bali up until the end of January. So it was before all of the lockdowns. And during that time,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I wasn't working. I couldn't hang out with my friends because they were all here in Canada. So my whole life, it felt like I could just put everything on pause and just experience life itself. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel I relate to Muhammad, is
Yeah.
because it's a totally different experience. You really get to actually enjoy what life has to offer as opposed to being caught up in your everyday life of, okay, now I got to wake up early for work, got to go through my work day, sorry. And then when you're done your work day, you either want to go home and relax, or you go home and you have errands to run, or people want to hang out, or you have to help out with your family obligations. Like your life is very much always on the go. So to have that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to just kind of pause that and enjoy life is something that I would never take for granted. So then coming back to Canada and then going into quarantine, I was totally okay with it. Again, because I found things in life that I could enjoy without having to be so caught up in my everyday life. But then on quarantine, I was still working from home. It's the only thing that really changed was that I couldn't go out in the evenings to see my friends, especially in the summer. Like we usually go camping or plan more vacations or day trips or things like that, which isn't to say that we didn't, because for a period of time we were still able to go enjoy the outdoors, which was fine and it was nice. But also, without having all those obligations with your friends and your family, it really gives you perspective on who is there for you, who you want to be there for, and who you want to see in your future,
Yeah, that's so
It's
true.
true.
right? Because you're kind of you kind of remove yourself from the situation. So you have time to reflect, like you guys said, and kind of determine like what is healthy for me, what isn't healthy for me, because you're more confined to just yourself, right?
Hmm.
So you're kind of, in a sense, alone with your own thoughts. And if you've been productive through quarantine, like myself, I feel, or maybe even you guys, you kind of want to do better for yourself. And you kind of have this outline in your mind about what kind of life you want to live, what kind of people you want to surround yourself
Yeah.
with. And because you're alone, it makes you realize who you are as a person, what type of personality you have, and what type of life you want to live. And then when you start hanging out with people after being isolated, then you start to realize how they influence your life. Do you get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah, you know it's funny that you mentioned that because during quarantine, like I guess we like during summertime was majority of it, I would say. And I remember I was sitting down and then Muhammad was like, "Yo, why are you posting so much on our Ways to a Porno account?" Which, by the way, is inactive. I know, but in the meantime, make sure you follow our personal accounts. And I was like, because, and then I didn't reply nothing. Then I started setting up all the podcasts because I was like, people would always ask me like, "Hey, where's the video out? Where's the podcast? Where's the podcast?" I was getting upset because I'm like, this whole time we're posting and no one's saying anything. But now, and then people, I guess during quarantine, like you're doing nothing, so you want to hear like voices. You want to pretend like you want to hear like your friends are around you somewhat way. So I started researching. I found the app, I think that the same day or the next day, I'm like, Muhammad, I found an app where we could do podcasts and distribute to all platforms. And then ever since then, I've like we were doing it got me closer. And I remember because Muhammad was like, when he went to Ghana, he felt isolated. And it's funny because I only spoke to this guy probably when he was in Ghana a couple times.
Mhm.
And when he came, and during quarantine, I asked him like, "Yo, do you miss anything from the pandemic?" His answer was no. He's like being at home with the family got me closer with my family, got me thinking, and it got me thinking even more
Mhm.
that now I don't chill as much with my friends no more because I got so used to being at home and doing my thing that it just taught me like the trade off is I'd rather be at home working on my stuff and like I can call you and we can all be safe because I would rather see you years from now as opposed to putting ourselves in danger and then God forbid one of us getting sick. So
Mhm. That's actually a really good
yeah, but
point too. And
but I feel like yeah, go on.
oh, go
Sorry, my
ahead.
bad. No, I was just gonna. This is why we should have the video chat because then that's but
That is
hopefully
true.
next time it'll work.
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
Next time.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel
yeah,
like a
go
lot
ahead.
of people, like there are a lot of unfortunate events that have come from the pandemic. Like, I know a lot of people have lost their businesses. I know some people have lost family members. I know
Mm-hmm.
some people have lost jobs. That was a big one. But you know what? I
Yeah.
know that it's hard right now, but I feel like when your back's against the wall or when you've hit rock bottom, that's the time that people really bounce back and do better for themselves. It's like that saying, sink
Oh,
or swim,
100%.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
That's tough.
this
That's
is
a
the
tough.
situation that you've been put in. You have, let's say, no job, for example, because you've been let go. But then so many people who lost their jobs created new businesses. I've never seen so many new businesses just pop up out of nowhere. And maybe they're not
Mm-hmm.
physical storefront businesses because we know that that's a little tough at the moment, but people have been thriving off their online businesses, which I think is amazing.
Yep.
So it kind of just, I don't want to say that there's no excuse, but it really goes to show that you had your back up against the wall and you fought through it and you came out on top and did something for yourself. So that's a
Yeah.
prime example of why I get so frustrated when people tell me that 2020 is canceled, when you see so many people who were in a bind and came out on top and did something positive for
But
themselves.
do you know the thing is I feel you because you put yourself on a high pedestal. I feel like I don't think I ever told you this. I feel like you're such a driven person that in your mind, like you're never lazy. Like it's either like a do or die situation for you, and I guess specifically for you. So when you see people saying 2020 is canceled, it's because you don't have a lazy attitude. It's why it probably upsets you, right? And I know it's the same thing for me. It's the same thing for Mohammed. So for the people who are saying 2020 is canceled, it's just an excuse for them to feel comfortable and
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I could do it next year." Well, who knows if next year is going to come? What if the whole world does next year? So
Of course.
these
Exactly.
next couple of days are probably so for you. If you have like the next 60, 70 years that we like that will be on for God knows how long.
Mhm.
Just work on your if your goals to be if like for example like if your goal is to be a I don't know like a teacher, be the best teacher you can be. Like for example, if I'm gonna be a teacher, I know I hated all my teachers in elementary school. So not all of them, some of them I liked, but
Of
majority of them I
course.
did not. But I would say, okay, so what did I not like from this, and what am I going to continue doing, and what am I going to improve on doing?
Mhm.
This is your life. Like kids are much more advanced now. People like I would spend so much time on TikTok, and people like had like would go viral on TikTok. Like do what you are best at. Like, everybody has a gift. For me, a lot of people tell me, Muhammad, we should be motivational speakers. You have a gift inside of you. Work on it. Olivia said it best: either sink or swim. You're gonna keep sinking. Well, I feel bad for you because it's not gonna be a fun life. By the time you're like 50, 60 years old, you're like, oh, I wanna do this now. And I know a lot of these entrepreneurs like Gary V's, all those dudes. They're like, oh, you can do it at 60, you can do it at 70. The difference is you're not as strong when you're in your 20s and your 30s when you're younger.
Mhm.
You don't have that drive as you do when you're older. So you're young now. Yes, there's a lot of unfortunate situations that happen,
But you
but
have to make
uh,
the best of
yeah,
the situation, right?
exactly. And that's where it all lasts. I feel like, yes, I feel like everybody got affected, but I feel with Corona, kind of taught us a lesson because people got so. If you guys realize, it got so deviated away from actual lot, like actual other important stuff. Like for example, um, I feel Corona got like for example around the George Floyd situation. Corona got more attention than the George Floyd situation. I feel there's so much things that actually matter in the world too, aside from Corona. But if we're all being safe as a community, Corona could have went a long time ago.
Mhm.
But a lot of people were selfish. A lot of people didn't care, and they were like, "Oh, like people till this day are still going to party." Which is irresponsible of you to do so.
Which is what blows my mind is that so going into 2020, everyone was so excited. Everyone said 2020 is my year. 2020 is the year that I'm going to make this happen, make that happen. 2020 is here. You can't go back in time. So the time that you've lost that has passed is the time that you've lost. And if you didn't do something within that time, I'm sorry, but that's not someone's fault because like I
Yeah,
said, like there's so many things to be grateful for that's come out of 2020. And maybe your plan didn't go as you expected, but you can't say that you didn't gain something out of 2020. And if you actually literally didn't gain anything out of 2020, what are you going to change in 2021?
It's true. It's totally true. And the funny thing is, like we're talking about, for those who are saying 2020 is dead, is equivalent. Pretty much, they see that the glass is empty. Olivia was on the episode about cliches. Typical cliche is the glass half empty or half full? But the thing is, for
Yeah.
me, I don't see the glass. Like break the paradigm. If you
Mhm.
want to think bigger or be bigger and work towards that, then see instead of seeing a glass, if it's half full, half empty, or empty at all, see an untapped source, whether it's a well, whether it's a fountain, a river, or a lake. Like think bigger beyond what you see and stuff, right? And there's a rapper, his name is Loaded Lux. He's a battle rapper, a very intelligent guy. I was watching his interview today, and he was talking about obviously like 2020 and what's going on and everything, right? So when
Mhm.
it came about COVID and everyone being feared and scared, what he said was, "Your perception is your reality, essentially, right? Like by all
Hmm.
means, we know that we are living in the world full of fear, chaos, and things we've never seen before. But at the same time, you can still rule in the light that you want to be a part of, right? So your perception is
Yeah.
reality. So if you see yourself in danger, believe me, danger is going to be all around you, and not only is going to be around you physically, but spiritually. That's going to contain as far as your biorhythms, and that's what you're going to attract as far as the law of attraction. But if you want to be true, then seek truth. Seek truth from those that you know and those that you don't know. Whether it's reading books, watching speeches, and talking with family members and friends and people in your community. And the last thing you talked
Yeah.
about, as Osama pointed out earlier, obviously with chaos turns into positive energy and conversations that's needed to be had. So the George Floyd event obviously was tragic, inhumane, but through that, a conversation that should have happened centuries ago or decades ago finally happened, and it created a movement. And what he said was, movement is a medicine. Movement is medicine. So because of that event, it sparked a revolution with people actually having the dialogue and the conversations, which led to steps and laws and people realizing their own truth
Yeah.
as far as who they are and what they see as far as interactions, and as far as the law itself when it comes to police relationships with the society. So your perception is
You,
reality and movement is medicine. So people
you,
being isolated, by all means, if you see the positivity in that, good. If you don't, realize that movement is a medicine. So you can still move in the tutelage of your home or even the outside your
yeah.
community accordingly.
Mhm.
That's so true. Do you know, to add on to your point? Um, Talking about this whole situation, like you said your earlier point about the tunnel. I feel a lot of the times you never go through something that you can't handle, right? Whether you're a religious person, like you believe in God,
Of
God
course.
will never put like a higher, whatever higher source you believe in, you will never be put through something that you yourself cannot go through,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of the times you ask questions, but you know the old, again, talking about cliches. Go back to episode 14, and much of we spoke about it, but be careful what you wish for. So, for example, when you wish to be the greatest, I don't know, like business owner for what for doctor, engineer, there's a reason why that we say be careful what you wish for, because once it happens, you can't go back, right?
Exactly.
So my point being is going to 2021, don't don't say all about luck. Like actually put your hard work. We all go through it. We all go through. Maybe Corona was it. Maybe happened for a reason to see how strong our will is. Who knows what the test is out of this? You know. So hopefully going forward, like because there's probably gonna be multiple pandemics going forward. Like let's be honest here. Like people who say yeah it's man made, yeah, like there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that. But at the end of the day, man made or not, government made or not, or like it came from someone or not, you're living with it, deal with it, do something about it. So that's where I'm at. And I'm not the type of person to like complain. Like I feel like complaining is not gonna get you nowhere. We actually filmed an episode which comes out. Well, actually, but yeah, by now it already would have been out. But we talk. So when we're recording this episode, it's not out because, anyways, we talk about going back in time, right?
Mhm.
It will make sense when you hear this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't make sense when you hear this podcast because the episode comes out on Monday, December 7th, but this episode comes out this 14th, so it will make sense of what it'll make. Everything will make sense if you do listen to the previous episode.
Okay.
Me and Muhammad talked about and said, would you go back and relive your life with all the knowledge that you have now? My answer is no, I wouldn't, because there are certain things that don't become genuine and don't become a real moment.
Mhm.
For example, like if what I just told Olivia right now a couple of minutes ago about her being driven, her being like her having a successful attitude, I'm not gonna go back and change what I just said because I actually genuinely meant that at that moment. So I feel certain things that you go through are meant to happen, and then if it's bad, you learn from the experience. If it's good, you continue going on.
Yeah.
And that's I feel how we should go forward with that.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Anyways, but honestly, this topic you can go so long talking about this topic because people's thoughts and like ideology sometimes about Corona kind of piss me off. Like even today when I was like, even the other day I was visiting my reps and someone was like, "Yo, bro," like some girl like I have like a lot of like young people who work as like demoing food, but they have it owning certain stores who are big enough. And obviously, like this is like when I was in Toronto, and she was like, "I get stressed a lot," and she's like 18 years old. She's like really young. I get stressed a lot. Everything stresses me out, and I legit told her, I'm like, "Look, stop using these like." Someone's affirmation like this 2020 like 2020 I never liked when people used to say 2021 2022 2019 was my year. That makes no sense, bro. How can every year be your year? Like I think Muhammad asked me I think it was yeah, bro, last year my birthday you asked me a question which was technically our first vlog. You're like,
Oh yeah.
what did you learn what do you see yourself like before you go to 26? I'm like, I don't live my life now every year. I live my life for the past 10 years. So now when I'm 35, anything I set my mind to, I hope I achieve by 35 years old. If I didn't, I have to go back and reprimand myself.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You have to hold yourself accountable. So if you aren't where you wanted to be, you kind of got to look at yourself and say, okay, what didn't I do? Why am I not there? What can I do to get there? Right? So we have to hold ourselves accountable. So if you didn't do something, if 2020 was your year and you're not where you wanted to be, self-reflect and do better.
So what's your advice to the people that are complaining and saying, what would you say to them, to Olivia? Like, what would you say? What's your advice?
Honestly, I would probably want to cuss them off and tell them it's their fault. But honestly, I would say to just reflect and grow from this because what you did or didn't do is on you. There must have been a reason why you didn't do it. Right? You can't, and honestly, sometimes it could just be as simple as, you know what, I was lazy, I didn't put in the effort. But if you put in the effort, then you wouldn't have yourself to blame because you tried. But if you're not trying, then you really only have yourself to blame. You know what I mean? Because it's like, let me ask you guys a question rather. Have you guys ever worked your ass off and it not paid off?
Yes.
You have?
No, I'm playing.
Well, the thing is,
playing.
in the moments you think it didn't work out, and it could be even longer than a moment. You could think like maybe a week or two after, but it wasn't meant for what you thought was going to happen in that moment. So it wasn't until after you realized the lesson and the value.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, when you're working, I think what she's asking is like, obviously, when you're working towards something, you always have your doubts, but it's gonna pay off at the end of the day. It's like, yeah, I was joking about saying it always ends up paying off no matter what you do. It may not be in the caliber that you think it is, but you don't know what the outcome that happened to you. It could take you to other other.
Osama,
exactly.
perfect example is the first episode didn't come out.
Oh yeah,
and we talked about it too.
I don't think Olivia knows the story though.
Yeah, she doesn't know the story. I guess the quickest way of saying it, because we talked about it before a couple of times. So obviously the first episode, the social media episode that came out for WWII, that's the episode everyone knows and obviously they saw and whatever, right? But we originally recorded an episode on October 26th or 27th, the year 26th, the year prior.
2018.
And the thing is, the week before, not even the week before, like the whole month, we were so excited to shoot this episode because we had the whole plan as far as the shots, we're going to wear the outfits and just the whole rollout and the promo. So the day before, we were so pumped, just like a fighter getting ready for the big fight and everything. They couldn't tell us anything. On the day of shooting, everything that you can imagine goes wrong. From the camera to the shooting and everything. And one thing that me and Osama realized that it wasn't our fault. It wasn't us versus each other as far as the crew and the cast. It wasn't us versus the topic itself. We were prepared. We knew what we were talking about. It was legit us versus nature. And guess what? You cannot win against nature. And the thing is, we practiced for 6 to 7 months as far as like the topics and conversation and everything, but we never, ever thought in our mind that, oh, there actually might be a time where it's us versus nature. So that's one of the beautiful things about it. You just don't see the value in it in the moment, but you realize it later on in life.
Do you know the analogy that you just used relates to our topic? Because if you learn business, obviously, I think Olivia would obviously know because we both studied business, same school. Shout out. There's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Mhm.
You can't control Corona, so we couldn't control when you're talking about our video. We couldn't control the nature of the weather. We couldn't control that.
Mhm.
Now the outcome. There's two things about the outcome. When you work hard, it's not going to happen automatically. That's one thing people have to understand.
Yep.
Right? I don't care if you work 24 hours a day. There's a lot of hardworking people who get it before you because they've been working their asses off for time now.
Mhm.
And I feel like when you're looking at it in different perspectives, yeah, that video taught us a lot, and that's why the birth of Waze happened. That's why I called the account 2.0 for a reason because there's two people in the group, and it's our second chance at like giving this podcast. That's why I actually did it. I don't think I ever mentioned that before, but I'll mention it today.
Okay, wait,
And
can I stop you right there?
yeah, what's up?
So from that, so because you learned from your first failed video, sorry to say,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
because you
no,
learned
it's
from
true.
it,
It's true.
would you say that that was a wasted effort?
No.
No, I would not say. It's actually funny that you
Exactly.
mentioned that because that taught us. It's that whole day. I remember I remember after we. I even walked off set
Yo, someone walked
because
off the set while we were shooting. Like
because
everything went wrong.
my parents were in the Middle East and they called me. So then, as our old partner, Jaffer was talking. It was Mohammed and Jaffer talking, and our former videographer was filming us. I just walked off set. It's not like I even said cut. I just walked off.
Yeah, I was so
And
confused.
then I remember that's also the part of the reason why I started learning videography with Mohammed. We started learning photography because I sat down. I remember this day. It was probably around the same time, and we both sat. And we're like, we can't keep relying on people
Mhm.
to do our stuff for us, right? But I feel like the outcome for us was slowly building because obviously like we were going through like I guess a lot of like issues. But right now, this is the outcome that you see. We're in 9 countries across the world.
Mhm.
One of them actually being the Philippines, by the way. So shout out.
Shout out to the
Yeah,
Philippines.
and you guys are almost at 50 episodes. That just goes to show, like, you kept pushing, you put in that work, and it's paying off. You know,
But I have to.
you didn't blame nature. You learned
No.
from it.
You learned from
I
it.
can tell you. I can honestly, and I'll use our platform because there's so much to talk about. But I can use our platform, and I can say this about what we've learned, and Muhammad can definitely agree. Is every single time something went wrong, we blame the three of us. We always blame the three of us, and I think it was Muhammad who started it off because at the time we had some mutual friends of ours who were also starting a YouTube channel. Muhammad, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I remember you said this before. I think it's before you went to
Ghana.
no, not Ghana,
Chicago?
Chicago. Before you went to Chicago to see your boy Ali E, and you were like, "Yo, these guys are better than us. They're this, they're that," and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, "No way,
I
I can't." Because
remember.
I can't. And I posted something. On my story just a few days ago about Mike Tyson saying there could be certain people who are better than him in terms of superior position, but man to man, no one can match him. And I kind of feel the same way. Like man to man, I don't think anybody can match me because I always like to push myself further. And that's how I feel. That's what I want to surround myself with. So if you're a friend of mine, it's because I see success within you, and I know you're gonna go far places, and I don't want to be with lazy people. And that's why with Waze, I feel May of this year someone I guess rung a bell. Is like, what if Corona never ends? Like, what if we live like this for the rest of our lives? So we're just gonna stop doing work, stop working, stop doing stuff normally, or are
No,
we
you
gonna
have to
continue living?
adapt.
Yep.
You have to
Exactly.
adapt to these changes, and it really just goes back to our topic. Like, are you just gonna sit there and wait for time to pass for another year to pass by potentially, or are you gonna freaking swim and fight your ass off and find the good in it?
You know, I can honestly say one thing, uh, because Olivia brought up a good, and I love this topic about the outcome. You can go through something thinking that you like for example, I went to school, not the biggest fan of school, never was, but you know what the outcome taught me about going to school is I knew what I wanted after I was done. I knew that school wasn't for me, but for people who continue their education, I admire that. I love that because like they're achieving something that they want to do. The outcome doesn't always. It can teach you a lesson. It can give you what you want. It can do a lot of things. It's just the way you perceive it. And Corona, the outcome of it, if it doesn't allow you to work harder on yourself, to focus on yourself, to maybe go save up for a home, a car, you want to get married, you want to be like in a healthy relationship. If it doesn't do any of those things, if not more, I don't know. Like I'm like, yo, are you a Trump supporter? I got no idea who you are, but go fix yourself, fam.
You know what? I like that you use those. Those are all great examples. Like if you've been if you've been one of those people that have thought that it's going to be impossible for me to save for a home, I'm never going to move out, yada yada yada. This is a great time if you've saved money. If you've taken advantage of not going out and saved money and put money away because of COVID, now's the perfect time to buy a home because you know what? Mortgage rates are dropping. And
Oh yeah.
you know what? I'm a prime example of that. We bought our first investment property March of this year, and we got a ridiculously low mortgage rate. And from what an
Congrats.
art,
Yeah.
thank you. And from an article that I was actually reading earlier today, is that the bank's mortgage rates are um, predicted to stay low as well.
But what the one thing that does sometimes I feel we have to go deeper in this topic for a bit because it's the people you surround yourself with is why sometimes the way you think, the way you view the way you view your life is how it really does shape who you are as an individual.
It is.
And that's why just reflecting about it got me like I'm 25 years old, like I think we're all the same age. It got me reflecting about like a lot of years of my life, going back to high school, decision that I made. But if you're gonna do, this is the perfect quote, and I read it the other day. And this is gonna fit in. If you're always focusing on the past, you're depressed. If you're always anxious, you're focusing on the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. And by that I mean stop focusing on the past. Okay, so 2020 is gone, Corona is still here, but you have to be living peace at the present, knowing that what you do now helps you go forward, and what you're currently doing now is because of the experiences in the past that have shaped the decision that you're making today. So that I live by that quote. I feel like if you're happy in the present, look at you can tell who's happy in the present, who's not, because people are always talking, "Oh man, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I wish that girl asked me out. I wish this." Bro, the past is the past for a reason.
Yeah. So you
And
either
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so like you either learn from it or you don't, right? Because if you didn't, you're
Well,
gonna repeat the same mistakes and you're still gonna be where you are today.
I know a lot of people
No, it's true.
that don't learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, as we all talked about this whole episode, the thing about this year, what represents to most people, that the world was on pause. Like, it's as if some universal thing, or you believe in God, just hit the pause button, and we're all confined to the spaces of our own home, right? So now that we're out,
Mm-hmm.
obviously there might be another lockdown soon. But from the first lockdown that we learned from people losing their lives and all these different things, it's like, man, after a while you start realizing, I'm really lucky to have a family. If you
Mhm.
are fortunate enough to be in a house full of your loved ones and stuff, right? Because being confined and
Yep.
isolated is like, man, you have nothing to do. You can't really do anything. It's like, okay, well, my brother or my mom or the people I don't really talk to that much, I have all the time to talk to them right now. So I might as well spend this time. And once you do that, you realize like, man, we're really lucky to have people that we love around us constantly. So you learn that as you go through life and every single day. So now that we're out, there might be another lockdown soon. So there might be another pause button. So the point is, this is going to be the new way of life. It makes more different random occurrences. So the world's going to be put on pause more frequently. So when it happens, really take that time out to either learn something valuable as far as the things that you do have, or something that you don't have. So therefore, you don't complain or bicker or see life as a negative space and time.
Exactly. It's almost
Wow,
like we need a Gary V out here to start yelling at people.
Oh,
that's what
no.
we're here. That's why Olivia, my good friend, brother from another mother, Mohammed here. That's why I'm here. We are the Gary V's of Toronto, Canada, bro. You listen to my. I swear to God, like sometimes I like giving advice to younger people because I feel like when they say something I strongly disagree with, and I used to think the same way. I'm like, no, I'm gonna fix your attitude, bro. Don't think like that.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm
Honestly, I actually used to almost hate Gary V because thought he was so cocky and so annoying because he was always he was always just yelling at you. And then it kind of hit me like, there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. Like it is on you. You do have potential. You just have to go out and put action to your words.
I feel like the one thing, and I can just say this for me. I feel the one thing he really does is regardless, there's a lot of things he said that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that he does say that I do agree with, but nonetheless, I feel when you have a good friend who is by you and who gives you strong, it could be like ruthless advice. I don't care. That's the word I'm using. Take it because your friends who you consider family, they care for you. So when they say that, it's not because they're trying to make you cry, they're trying to hurt you, because they're trying to look out for you. Because for me, I've always said that when I want to be successful, I want to see my friends and my family on the top with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be top alone. So
yeah,
when you come on this podcast and you're listening to for all the years going forward, don't let a threat stop you from doing what you need to do. Coronas are a threat. It's our enemy. Cool. But you got to find a loophole to like go around that.
exactly. And there's
Yeah,
lots out there.
yeah. And obviously, like during this time, it's pretty cool because we've never seen anything like this. So as we talked about the whole episode, just to take advantage and just really learn, like at the same time, like even whether like just to become students of something, right? Like just to take this opportunity just to learn something, so you can just benefit yourself. Because obviously, a lot of people deal with mental health and depression, and they take antidepressants and different pharmaceutical drugs just to try to get themselves together, and they don't know where to go to. They don't know where to watch, as far as people to ask to escape their just reality of suffering, right? So as far as to those people, it's really, man, like take time out for yourself to really reflect, and like, once again, just speak with your loved ones or people that are close to you, like someone just said, because you shouldn't feel lonely when the whole world is really alone. Like the earth is alone right now. The earth is alone right now because of this virus. So the last thing you want to do is to feel lonely, even as the earth is suffering from the mistakes that we've made as humans over the span of time. So just talk to those that you're close to.
Absolutely.
And if not, just watch episode of Wigs.
Hit us up.
Well, with that being said, we want to thank everybody. We actually want to thank Olivia for coming back because we've been trying to like start this for a long time.
Long time.
Kind of fits the mood that it's coming closer to the end of the year and the beginning of the year is coming soon. So it kind of fits. Olivia, want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Honestly, to all the listeners out there, if you haven't already watched any of their other episodes, make sure you tune in. If you're not doing anything on a Sunday, even if you're busy doing errands on a Sunday, make sure you tune in because there's so many episodes that pass. And I was like, damn, I have so much to say about that. And I wish I was on those podcasts. But honestly, like, I think you guys are amazing. I love your positivity and I love the things that you address. So thanks for having me on.
Honestly, from now on, I'm just gonna hit you up to see if you want to talk about the podcast because like we need a bigger female audience. So
yeah,
Of
I got
course.
you.
we
You
try to
guys
grow
have
that.
such great topics, and honestly, they're all things that I can relate to or that have given me more insight. And yeah, I always have a good conversation with you guys.
We do as well. So Olivia, everyone, thank you. You want to shout out your social media platform? People follow her right now.
Yeah, so you can catch
Please.
me on Instagram, Olivia Perl. That's Perl. That's my main account. If you're looking for deals or freebies, you can catch
Yes.
me on Instagram as well. And I think that account is called Perl095.
Honestly, I'm cheap, so I'm always watching that account.
Hey, times are rough right now, okay? If you can save money, do so.
Exactly.
It's true. It's
That's
true.
that's so true. That's facts. Yeah, but guys, it was lovely. I'm dying.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
You
good.
got corona.
I don't know why. No, no. I keep choking. I have no idea. That sounds wrong.
Yep. Definitely could soundbite off that. It's okay.
So, someone sign him up for a drive-by test.
It's a sitting arrangement right now.
That's what happens when you haven't ate in like a couple hours. Man's are marved.
Same. I agree.
But I guess, yeah, with that being said, okay, it's probably a nonchalant way to end this podcast because we usually don't do it this way, but we want to thank everybody for coming on, specifically Olivia. We want to have you back. I'm gonna start texting you every single time we have a podcast so we can hear your voice
Yeah.
because I love your opinions.
Please come
And
back.
yeah, Mr. Bo.
Thanks. I would
All
love
All
right,
to,
right, bro.
guys.
All right, bet. Peace out, ladies and
Bye,
gentlemen.
guys.
take
Have a good
care.
night.
You too.
You as well. Take care. What? See, blessed episode. Asham, she comes back. It's fire.
Yeah, it's better than the original. So it's just like
I lie.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. So I guess the perfect way.
Bro, I am so hungry. It's not even a joke. But this
Bro,
topic got me like,
I haven't eaten since
what?
like 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, then we gotta go eat. But before we go eat, I want to say, Olivia, thank you so much. We loved your opinions. We'd love to we want you coming back for more. We want you to come back for more episodes. I actually had no idea you wanted to come back for the episode that we spoke about earlier. But from now on, I guess we'll hit you up and see if you're interested to come on because we want to increase our female audience. But with that being said, peace.
Peace.